Hi everyone and welcome to part 2 of this polar bear tutorial. Today I'm going to be starting on the face, and because it's such a small scale I have sharpened my Pitt pastel pencils to really sharp points. The sharpener that I've used is this one, the Swordfish Icon Sharpener. I will leave this in the description below. This one I find is really great for the Faber-Castell Pitt pastel pencils, which is the ones that I'm going to be using for this tutorial. I may use a couple of the Caran d'Ache ones, but I'm not entirely sure yet. But I'm going to try and just stick to these as much as possible, just to keep the amount of supplies that I use to a minimum. I'll also link the paper that I used below and the reference photo so that you can follow along. Part 1 is already up on my YouTube channel, which is where I did this ice around the edge here. And yeah, that's it really. So I'm going to start on the face, and because it's quite a small scale, it's just going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm going to show you that you can do small detailed work with pastel pencils, even though it is more difficult, but it can, but it can be done. And this piece of paper is an 8x8 piece of paper. 8x8 inches, that is, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to start with the eye, which is what I usually do when I'm starting an animal, is start with the eyes. I mean, the eyes are not going to have really any detail in because it's such a tiny scale that you're just not going to be able to fit in the detail. So I'm not going to be quite as detailed as my normal pieces are, because normally I like to, especially in the eyes, create a lot of detail. But basically this piece is going to be one of my Christmas card designs for this year. I wanted to create 3 new designs, and then I can use my robin and these 3 to create packs of 4 with like different designs in, which I think, because before I've only done like the same design in a pack, and I want to do like a varied pack, so I think that would probably sell a bit better. So I've just used the black for the actual eye, and then I'm just using lighter greys around the edge. And polar bears you think of being white, well, they're barely white. They're like browns and creams and greys and all sorts. They're not as white as you think they are. So I was watching David Attenborough's Frozen Planet the other day, and I was just like looking at the polar bears when they were showing the polar bears, and they're just, yeah, they're not really as white as you grow up thinking they are. Yeah, with pastels you get quite a bit of dust here and there, but it doesn't really bother me. Just making sure the eyes are really dark. I'm gonna add a little bit of light grey in the actual eye just to kind of make it come alive a little bit, so it's not too black. Here we go, and then just going to add in some of the areas which are a bit more grey. So inside the ears, you can see there's like grey bits. Darker areas in the centre of the ear. And I will blend this out and then just add some white or cream first strokes on top as well a bit later, but I'm just going to shade in some of the areas which have a bit of grey. and around the mouth. There's quite a lot of grey and dark areas. It is a bit darker than this grey, but I'm just sort of using this mid-grey to just map it out a little bit. Don't know how much I'll get done in this part, but maybe just the kind of face and neck area maybe, and then the last part will be the body maybe. I don't know, it depends how long it takes me to do this, because I don't want the parts to be over an hour long really. Filming this on my phone again because I still haven't ordered a new battery charger for my camera. I need to, but I just don't know what to go for because there's so many different ones and they're all not brands I've heard of, so I don't know what to do. I will get one at some point soon though, I need to. Don't have to be too precise with this bit because pastels are really versatile. You can go over them with lights or darks. And we might map out some of the lighter areas as well, so I'm just going to find my white. Here we go. So along the top of the nose here, quite a light area where the sun is hitting it. And top of the head. This part here next to the neck is quite light. Over this side here is quite a lot of light, where the light is reflecting off this bit of fur. These are kind of the lightest areas, maybe here a little bit. I can go over with white at the end to lighten up any areas that I want to. Around this side of the mouth. Okay, so in the fur you can see there's all this slight, oh, I don't know if the camera's showing it properly, but there's some like slight reddy browny tones right around here. So I think I am going to use one Caran d'Ache pencil or two for this tutorial. So I'm just going to get a little bit of scrap paper here and test out these two colours. See what one I think. Oh, definitely that one, not this one, that one's too light. So I'm going with this one here, and I will link this pencil in the description below as well, just in case you wanted it. And it's in Dark Flesh 40%. And that's this one here, which is slightly darker. Just to use as a base in some areas. And we'll go over the top of it. It's just, there are some like reddy browny tones, which I do want to replicate. And there isn't a colour like this in the Faber-Castell set, so that's why sometimes I do mix and match the sets, because they come with different colours, different range of colours. I do like the colour range of the Caran d'Ache ones. I think they've got quite a lot of natural tones that are really good for wildlife and things, so I do recommend getting a few of them just for like base layers and things like that. Just adding a few different tones in. I know this looks really unrealistic at the moment, but I'll go over some of this and it will come together in the end. So when you're going through a stage of drawing like this and it looks really ugly, it's like the ugly stage. This is usually when people will be like, right, I can't draw, I'm giving up, this doesn't look right. And I've been guilty of that so many times, because yeah, this doesn't look right at the moment. But if you keep going with it, just keep adding more layers and more colour, and eventually it will come together. It just sometimes doesn't look like it will. Get a blending stump. Oh, and I'll link some of these in the description below. If you've watched my channel before, I'm sure you know what these are, because I use them all the time. They're just blending stumps, which I use to blend the pastel together. They work really, really well. Okay. And I'm going to add some of this beigey colour. Actually first I'm just going to add some darker greys into the ear, middle of the ear actually. Deepen them up a little bit. And then I'm going to use some of this. This is 103 Faber-Castell. I use this colour quite a lot. It's just kind of like a creamy beige kind of colour. And then I'm going to go with the white again, but I'm going to just sharpen it quickly because it's not sharp enough. There you better. Just going to add the white around the edge of the ears. And obviously because of this small scale, the detail is not going to be perfect. But I just want to make sure it looks like a polar bear basically, and it looks relatively realistic. I do find pastel artwork does look better on a bigger scale, but I do sometimes like working on a little scale. This requires a bit more patience. That's one thing I miss about coloured pencils. You can work on a really small scale and it still can look really detailed, but colour pencils frustrate me sometimes because you can't use white like over the top of darker colours, and it just frustrates me. It just doesn't feel natural to me. That's why I like acrylic paints and pastels, because they just, you can use colours over the top of others and it works fine. A little bit of light into the eyes, there we go. Just brighten them up a little bit. I'm just going to sharpen this beigey colour again. I'm going to come down to this side of the face. I feel like I need a brown as well, because there are some browns in this. Yeah, I'm going to go with this, which is 176. So I'm just going to sharpen that one as well, because it's a bit blunt. I feel like there are some browns in this as well. Some browns here. If you can hear my throat gurgling, please ignore it. It happens all the time. I like my frog gurgles. Don't know if anyone else gets them, but I get them after I've eaten quite a lot. And it's just really embarrassing, so ignore that. And then go back with the white. That is the annoying thing that does happen sometimes. If you press a bit too hard, because pastels are really fragile, the tips just can snap off really easily. So I end up getting through so many pastels, which is the only annoying thing, and they're not particularly cheap, but I'm not really selling pastels very well, am I? But yeah, I do love them. Okay, that's that bit of the face. Just soften this out slightly. Going to focus on this nose area next, I think. So I'm going to add some of the darker grey around the nose, because there are some more darker bits along here. And underneath the mouth. And then there is some black right in the centre of the mouth. That gets darker along here. Just going to add that in. And the nose, the darker area is this bit here. So I'm going to look at the reference picture up close. And then there's these nostrils here and here. Which are the darkest parts. I'm going to use the dark grey. Get a blending stump. I'm going to find a really small one, like this kind of size. You can get them in packs of different sizes. So I'm just going to blend out that. And then go back in with the black and darken those nostrils again. And then around the other bit of the nose, a lighter grey, and then the darker grey. Where's the white gone? I'm holding it. And add a little bit of the white there. So there's a little bit of a lighter area. Like that. And then this section here is actually lighter. So I'm just going to sharpen my white again because it's snapped. That's better. And then use this over here just to lighten these bits up again. Around the bottom part of the mouth there is some more dark around this bit. So I'm going to deepen that bit up. There we go. And then over here, I'm gonna do this bit over here now. So this creamy colour. With the white. Actually, I'm going to blend that out a little bit first. Cool. And then, yeah, back with the white. Lighten this bit up slightly. And the fur here. Adding the base layer of the other colours just kind of gives it some more dimension. Instead of it just being flat white, it just wouldn't look right, because their fur does have lots of other colours in. I find it really helpful to have the reference photo right next to you. I print it out the same size as the drawing just so that I can see exactly what sections need to be which colour and whatever. And or you could use a tablet or a phone, have that next to you with the picture on. And then, yeah, I just find that really helpful because you keep looking back and forth to the reference photo, making sure that you're getting it right. So around this area here, there is that darker bit in the picture, so I'm going to leave that like that. And then this bit underneath here is a bit darker. I'm going to add a little bit of brown as well. And then the neck does get darker as you go down. So this bit of the head is the lightest part because that's where the sun is shining on, and then it does get darker and darker and darker. So I've tried to keep the head looking quite light. And then when you're doing the fur around the background, if you overlap the fur onto the background, you don't then get that like halo around the edge of the animal, because you want it to look like it is there, not just put onto the background kind of thing. So you want to make sure you've got no paper showing between the animal and the background. I think I'm going to leave this part here, and then I'm going to do the last part, which will be the whole body. So the last part will be a lot longer than this part, but yeah, I think I'm just going to do that. So the first part is the background, the second part is the head, and then the last part is the body. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and the last part will be up the Sunday after this one. So yeah, I'll hopefully see you then. Bye.